Yes, sir.
I don't know how we're gonna top that show that we had last weekend,
Oh my gosh.
last week
Yes.
or this week.
No, it was yes, yes,
Yeah, it was
yes,
this week,
yes.
Tuesday. We want to say thank you as again to our guests and for them giving us um, that space and that
Yes,
time in their
yes.
lives. We understand how valuable that is, and so we're very appreciative of any time that anyone gives us. So just know that it does not go unnoticed. Um, we had a topic we were going to talk about today, and it was a very interesting topic.
Yes.
And I will give you guys a prelude to it. It wasn't a topic I came up with. I think it was it you or Christy?
That was me.
So Floyd came up with a topic he wanted to talk about.
Oh, about the I wanted to talk about more of the holidays, like more getting talked about the meaning of what the holidays mean.
And you guys know the space that I'm in right now and that I've been in the last few years is I'm really taking a deep dive into things that we've been traditionally programmed to think and things that we've been traditionally programmed to celebrate. I'm asking more. I've always been a why kind of person, but I'm asking more of the why questions now that a lot of stuff is coming to light. Um, and so I kind of was going to put a little twist on that. And I wanted to take a deep dive into finding out where these holidays really originated from and why do we celebrate them. Because I know over the years, a lot of stuff is getting lost in translation of why we celebrate these holidays. And then we're starting to get more educated about these holidays and how it pertains to Black history.
Mhm.
Because it seems like there's a lot of Black history that's tied to these holidays that we celebrate, and it's not all positive. And so, but I didn't want to take a deep dive into that until I had a subject matter expert on here. And so there's a couple of them that I want to reach out to before we do that topic. Um, so stay tuned. We will be talking about it. It just, I needed to have. I'm an info person, and it bugs me when people get on social media saying stuff, and it's only because they Googled it or somebody told them. I need the subject matter experts, the ones that have taken those deep dives, that have looked past Google um, stuff that Google is cool if you're trying to find sales, if you're trying to get directions. But when you talk about Black history, Google is not a place where you should be trying to find out about Black history.
No, no, I don't. I wouldn't say Google, but I would say like a Chat GBT or
Yeah, I mean, you can go to the dark web, and there's a lot of historians that a lot of times you don't even know
Yeah.
that you're affiliated with or that you're close to, and they know a lot of these stories firsthand, stories that were told by actual people that were there, or they have access to information where they have like the true story about how it all originated.
But then you know how it goes to the point. Then it's like, do you actually sit there and believe what they're saying?
Why?
Because it gets to a point that, I mean, yes, we want the truth, we want to get to the root of it, but then if we're just like going to them and like, okay, now what is this topic, and what do you say about it? But then they say, okay, well, then they tell you what they say, but then you're like, okay, am I gonna sit here and actually believe it?
Well, I think if you don't have an open mind to understand that, like when you really look at a lot of things that we celebrate and a lot of things that we've been taught and programmed to believe, now it's all coming to light, and now we're realizing that we were taught the wrong things. We were just programmed a certain way because there was an agenda to be met, and the I truly believe, and this is just me and my opinion, that the only true death is when you stop learning. And I don't know enough about my Black history. I don't. I don't. I'm right now. I'm at that point in my life where I'm fiending to learn more about my Black history. The thing about Black history, though, is not something that should just be uh, wanted, shouldn't be thirsted after by just Black people. White people, Italian people, Chinese people, Mexican people. We all have all of our heritage tied into each other. And so I always say the reason why we have so much hatred, so much racism is just the lack of education. Because if you really understood your history, if you really understood politics and the inner workings of it, a lot of this stuff you wouldn't be so easily misled. And it's because we get into this vicious cycle to where we've done a certain thing for a certain amount of time and it's been comfortable for us. It's easy to digest when a bunch of other people agree with us.
Yeah.
And that's the problem is that we live in a society where we don't feel accepted unless a bunch of people agree with everything we do.
So you're a yes man.
Yeah. And that's a problem in a lot of people's lives is the thirst and the longing to be accepted by people that will never accept you. They will never accept you because you don't come from the economic stratosphere that they're in. Um, you don't look like them. You don't talk like them. You're not educated like them. Hell, we in the Black community have figured out how to separate ourselves for those very reasons. So if we're doing it in the Black community toward each other, what makes you think that other nationalities and other races aren't doing that? So I'm not looking to be more educated about my Black history so I can judge people. I'm looking to be more educated about my Black history so I know where I stand and how I can pass this information on to my sons and to my granddaughters and their kids and let this be something that we pass down. We talk about legacies. And that's how you create legacies. When people know where they're from, it's easy for you to create a legacy. Because if you know where you're from, you know where you're going.
But then at the same time, it's depending on what type of legacy you're coming out of or you're affiliated with. Because then some people might have that mindset of wanting to start their own legacy.
Well, it's fine to start your own legacy. That I mean, that's the whole purpose of starting a legacy is you want to be defined by who you are. But in order for you to find out who you are, you got to know where you come from, and where you come from is influenced by other people around you, other people that came before you. We're enjoying the fruits of the labors of people that we never met, and a lot of us don't even know about. But we're enjoying the fruits of their labors because they decided they wanted to leave a legacy and create something that other people might have been scared to create. And now we enjoy it. Now it's our time. We have to leave a footprint in the sand for other people to follow. And it's not necessarily that you got to recreate the wheel or recreate what somebody else did, but you're definitely going to use the education that you learned from somebody that did it before you. So you don't have to recreate the wheel. You just do it your own way.
I have a friend who does a it's like a community peace fest,
Hmm.
and he does it almost every year in South Phoenix. And so basically, it what it does, it brings the community together and brings them to the point that they want to, so that they can get that mindset of wanting to support the community and keep that community at a peaceful state. Instead of fighting each other, black on black crime and all that, instead of doing all that, you know, it's time out for all that. We need to stand together and fight. We're gonna fight the system, fight
Hmm.
the ones that need to be fight. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's part of creating your own legacy. Like you don't have to recreate what he did. You can do something that patterns that to where you guys can join forces and now you don't have just that one entity. You've created multiple entity with the same goal. And the problem is that, and that's part of the education. That's why it's so easy to pit us against each other because they know all you got to do is throw us money. If you give us a check, my mom used to tell me like you would turn on Jesus if you wasn't afraid of what he do to you. And
Oh my gosh.
that's really the
That's
mindset
that's
that we have is that we want to be recognized so badly that we're willing to step on each other to get to that point when it's better if we get there together
right.
than individually. It's okay to reach a goal and to reach a level in life on your own. But for me, I always say, how can I enjoy the fruits of my labor when I haven't pulled anybody up there with me? I don't want to be on that stand by myself. I want to use my platform, the things God has blessed me with, to pull other people up. That's my gratification. Like I have people out here in the streets talking about me and saying different things about me, but that what people have to say about me is none of my business. I know who I am, and people that know me know who I am. So I don't live my life trying to get gratification and the justification and to appease people that a lot of them don't even know you,
Right.
and how they develop their feelings about you is because they hear the positive chatter about you. And a lot of times jealousy and envy comes from people that feel like they can't do what you do.
It's hard to pinpoint
Blessing things.
those things, but one thing that I noticed is that you're doing well, you're doing great, right? You're doing your thing, and how people literally look for something. They're literally trying to stay there and observe you to make so that they can see something that's not right.
Mhm.
That's not that they can pinpoint and they be like, okay, yeah, that's not right. No, 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 no. I'm gonna talk about that. Okay, yeah, 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 yeah. I'm gonna, you know.
Mhm.
So they literally would do that. I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
Bad news travels faster than good news,
Yeah,
and in a lot of ways, bro, it's easier to get to the top than it is to stay on top.
yeah.
Because when you get to the top, it's almost kind of like your own struggles that get you there. And we're gonna talk about that too, because it's kind of like a prelude to what I posted. But when you're getting to the top, you're dealing with your own everyday struggles, whatever they may be. When you get to the top, now it's everybody's goal to knock you off the top. People that didn't pay you any attention during your struggles are going to be right there when you get to the top. Because now the goal is I want to take what you have instead of earning what you got.
So those people that are waiting for you at the top to take you down, actually, they're there to keep you going.
Yeah. It in a lot of ways, bro, the negativity that surrounds negative people for a lot of us, especially us that thrive off of that, that gives me my reason why. Like I love it. Like I absolutely love it. I say this all the time. I thrive in the midst in the eye of adversity. I thrive in it. Like I'm uncomfortable being comfortable.
Mm.
I'm so uncomfortable being comfortable. Like it literally makes me nervous. I don't know if that's right, but I am not comfortable being comfortable. I'm not. I'm uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable. And so for me, I think there will never be a time to where I'm like complacent, where I feel like I made it. Because I feel like even when I get to the point to where I've accomplished everything that I want to accomplish, if I can't look at those accomplishments and attach those accomplishments to people that I've helped get to that same point, I ain't done shit.
Hmm.
I ain't done nothing.
Yeah.
The purpose of us being here is to make this place better than how we found it. And how you do that is you pull people up that might not otherwise have the opportunities that you have. If you're not doing that, it does me no good, man, to go grab somebody that's doing the same thing I'm doing, that's on the same level that I'm on, that has the same things that I have. That does me no good. That does me no good. I don't feel good about that. I want to grab them people that thought that it would never be possible for them to be in certain spaces and do certain things. Those are the people that I want, because you know what? Their testimony is far more effective than somebody that's casually in the space where they're trying to get.
There's a when you're bringing somebody up, right? And you literally your mindset, like say, is to help somebody get to that next level, get up, right? So if your mindset is to get that person up, then your mindset should be open to the point that when that person comes up and he goes higher than where you're at now, that is a blessing.
You bring about. I'm gonna let you finish, but
That is the way that it's supposed to be. I
yeah,
mean, it's like you having kids. You wanting your kids to be better than who you are.
hmm
So basically, that's the same thing.
it is, and that actually is the next step to what we were just talking about. It's like when your goal is to bring people to your level, it shouldn't stop there. My goal when I teach, when I coached, when I instructed, when I led was not only to get you to a certain point, whether it be the point that I was at or to a point that you didn't think that you would ever achieve, but the ultimate goal is to have you go beyond me, to have you go beyond me. Because when you do that, you let other people see what's possible. Like I'm visually possible. Like you can see the things that I've done that's possible. There's there's something else that's past me. There's a bunch that's past me
Right.
that's possible. And so that's what I thrive for. That's my goal is to push people past even what they think is possible. Because I say this all the time, and it was something we all was raised on. If you can think it, it can be done. It's that easy. Like when you think about the world and the things that are in this world and the things that we have available to us, and then think 20 years ago, which is not that long ago, would we have thought that the things that we're seeing and that we enjoy would be possible? I mean, the one that thing that sticks out in my head is 20 years ago, would we have thought that there would be a self-driving vehicle?
No, because that was more of a what one of those fabrication kind of things.
Yeah, things that
You
we
know,
saw on
on TV,
TV,
right?
like animations
Uh huh.
and things like that, the
The
Jetsons
Jetsons,
and
right?
all of this stuff, flying vehicles. But we have that now. So if you think that we can put objects in the air to fly and people on them and not just a plane, if we can have machines that can operate without manpower, what do you think the possibilities are of any other thing? Like, and the other thing about it, not only if you think it, it can be done. If you think it, it's already been done.
Yeah, and it's like how you be okay. What do I want to do? What do I want to create? I want to create a business. Okay, I want to create a shoe business. I don't see many people doing shoe business. I want to create a shoe business. What type of shoe business? I want to create a design shoe business. What I don't know, maybe a check mark shoe business. Okay, there's no check mark shoe business. Okay, let me do a check mark shoe business. Next thing you know, boom, Nike. What? Oh, wait a
Yeah,
minute. Wait a minute. You know.
yeah. It's and there's nothing wrong with coming up with ideas that already currently exist. And this is what we talked about is like you everything can have your own spin on it. You can do it differently. So the check mark, you can't do the check mark But what did Travis Scott do with his shoe? He turned the check mark upside down.
Or he created a
Granted, Nike did it, but that just lets you know that there's a different way to do the same thing and get credit for that different thing. And so you just got to be willing when it comes to that kind of stuff. You got to be willing to think outside the box. The more successful people are the people that think outside the box and they aren't afraid of failure. And that kind of leads us into the video that I posted. That was sent to me. The video was sent to me. Who sent that? Oh my God! If you're on here, who sent me that video with Tom Brady? Somebody sent me the video with Tom Brady. And in that video, Tom Brady, well, it was actually Joe Rogan was on his show and he was talking to someone. He said, "Hey, have you seen that video with Tom Brady?" And it just captioned the last part of it. It didn't tell you how they got to that point where they're talking about it. But the video is of Tom Brady, and he's speaking and to an audience, and it could be a motivational speaking engagement, whatever. But he was saying how, when everybody sees him, all everybody talks about is the championships.
Mm.
And the championships are great, he said, but the thing that he remembers most is his failures. And we was talking about this before we went live, is your successes is a culmination of a lifelong existence of failure. You celebrate. A lot of times it's hard for people to remember who won a championship last year. Sometimes you really have to think about who won a championship last year.
Yeah, sometimes you do. I know I do.
But if I tell you to remember your failures and how tough it was, see, your failures is your life. Your successes are a moment in life.
Right.
And if you aren't willing to go through that life of failures to have that moment of success, and it's just a moment, you can have multiple moments, but your failures will outweigh your successes far beyond. And the thing about your failures, those are the ones you really do cherish more than anything. And the reason why is you remember that pain. You remember the people that turned their back on you. You remember the people that told you couldn't do it. You remember those nights when not just the people that told you couldn't do it, you remember those people that stuck by you when nobody else would.
Yeah.
The people that encouraged you when you didn't think you could do it. Those are the things you remember. Your championship, you'll remember celebrating it. You'll remember getting that ring, and you'll remember accomplishing the goal. But that kind of fizzles out after a while. It fizzles out until the next person wins a championship. But you know what never fizzles out is all of those failures that led up to that. Because your successes, like I said, is a moment. Your failures don't define you, but they refine you for life. Not only are they affect whatever that thing that you're trying to accomplish, but it molds you into a person that, regardless of what you're trying to achieve, you know it's possible,
right?
Because you achieved success. It took a lot of heartache and pain, but you achieved it. So now you know what the possibilities are, but you also know the work that it takes to put into it. And that's why I was so passionate about creating the brand Failure, is that I felt like there was a need for it. And the reason why is because failure had such a negative, and still does have such a negative connotation with it. When I first started the brand, people would ask me about it and say, "Hey, what's your brand? What's this F?" And I would do it for the shock effect. I said it's failure. And I would get that look like, what? Why would you? And I had people that were bold enough to tell, why would you name something failure? I said, why not? Because it's so negative. No, that's how you view it. And you're probably that same person. Once you hit failure, you stop, you quit, you give up. But the people that we admire the most, the people that we watch on TV, the people that we scroll on social media and we like, wow, look at them, this and that, they have failed the most.
Yeah.
When I was starting the brand, I used to ask, different high profile people that I know, is like, hey, what's your relationship like with failure? And I was really astonished at the answers that I was getting, how positive the answers were. And most of them, if not all of them, had a great relationship with failure because they understood that having that positive relationship with failure created the building blocks for success. They actually used it as a blueprint.
Right.
And the other thing about having a blueprint is you understand if I encounter a mistake or if I have a failure, I can look at this blueprint and not repeat that same failure. But if you fear it, just think about it. The stuff that we fear, we try to block it out. We try to forget it. You shouldn't fear failure. You should remember your failures, if to nothing else, so that you don't repeat them.
Because your failures, like I said earlier, your failures, you build on them. You build on them to make yourself more dominant in success in whatever you're doing. Because I mean, I fail a lot. I I'm like everything I tried to do is like it's a blessing to me because I've learned from it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know now that now I have to do different things the different ways because what I do, I go back to what I failed on and then I tweak it to the point that now I can build on that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, yeah, now, and I'm seeing it. I'm seeing the difference of it. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we historically can look throughout history at the failures that have been captured in the media and different quotes. Michael Jordan's probably one of the most popular quotes. He said, "I've taken 9,000 shots. The number could be wrong. I've missed 9,000 shots in my career, and that's the reason why I succeed." Um, that in itself, those words are so powerful. Um, we all have failed. We're going to continue to fail. But the ones that reach success are the ones that don't fear it. Like I use a lot of analogies, and typically it's analogies that I have that I know about, and for me it's fitness, it's sports, it's military, the different things that I enjoy, and so I use a lot of analogies when it comes to fitness and working out. And some of my best workouts is when I worked out until failure, when I didn't count sets, when I didn't count reps, when I let my mind tell me I can't go anymore. Mm-hmm. And I used to tell my clients this, and I tell people this even now. It's like, if you can control this, then this will go where this takes it.
Mind over matter.
But if you're mentally weak, everything about your existence is going to follow the way your mindset is. And that's the reason why, and that falls into the subject of what we're talking about is mindsets. And I've said this quite a bit as well. And a lot of, and people can relate to it. If you constantly tell yourself, I'm sick, I'm not feeling good, I'm sick. And it could just be starting off to maybe get out of something. I don't want to, I'm not feeling good. I'm not. But if you have to say that over and over and over again, you start actually believing that you are. So guess what's going to happen? You're going to get sick because you have mentally convinced yourself that you're sick. So just, if you can do that, just think about how grand it would be if you constantly told yourself, I am successful. I can achieve.
But
I will not fear failure.
you know, we don't we get to a point that we're in the okay when you're at home, you're in the bed, and you're like, okay, I'm just gonna stay in the bed all day. I'm just gonna be here. I'm not gonna do anything. But then you wrote your goals down of what you want to be. Oh, I want to be this famous basketball player. Okay, so but you're in the bed. You're laying in the bed. You're there all day, every day. But you want to be this.
Not putting in the work.
Exactly. That mind is like you said, that mind is it's like wherever your mind is at that point right there, that's where it is. Because you're in the bed, you want to be this professional basketball player. You ain't doing nothing. Your mind is in the bed. Your mind is not on being a basketball player.
Yeah. It's and that's another thing too that's so important is like we have to figure out what it is that we're passionate about. Your passions and the things that you're passionate about leads to that positive mindset. Um, and so like if I'm passionate about a thing, you can't tell me what I can't do. Nobody can.
Right.
I don't care what my resume looks like. If I'm passionate about a thing, you can't tell me. I refuse to let you tell me what I can't do when it comes to things that I'm passionate about because I've done it before. I've done things that I wasn't supposed to be able to do, but because of my mindset and how passionate I was about that thing, I was able to do it. And so that's why it's important that when we're pursuing a thing, it's because we want to do it, not because it ended up being beneficial for someone else. And that's in business as well. Like with the advent of social media, we have all of this access to look at different things and successful people, and we have a tendency to want to copy that. The thing that separates you from them, and a lot of times, in a lot of ways, is the fact that that's what they're passionate about. That's something that they long to do. You just see the rewards of what they're doing, and now you want to do it. So it's so important to walk in your purpose. That's what I'm getting to. Is that yes, definitely try it. Because I say this all the time. You would rather have a life full of failures than a life full of regrets any day. There's honestly nothing I can look back on my life and regret, whether it's good or bad. Honest to God, I don't regret anything, the good or the bad, because the good let me know what's possible. The bad lets me know it wasn't for me.
Yeah, you got to go through
But
it.
had I not tried it, I'd be sitting here, man, I wonder what if. What if? That's why I tell people that I speak to is live life with no inhibitions. If you think about doing it, as long as it's morally right and you ain't breaking no laws. If you think about wanting to do something, do it. What's the worst that could happen? The best thing that'll happen is you'll either find out it's for you or that it's not for you. But if you're just sitting in a space and you're just wondering what if, next thing you know, 10 years gonna pass by.
You know, I had speaking of that, I had over the few years, it's been over 4 or 5 years, and I've always told myself that I would be get my degree in business administration.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Emphasis on human resources.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all those years went by, and I keep talking about it. Oh, I'm gonna do it. Oh, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. And it just like dawned on me. I'm like, boy, how are you telling these people over here go to school, go get your education, go get that, go over here? You know, I'm like, hold on, you know. But then, you know what? But then I was like, you know what? I started to take my own advice. I'm like, look at this. This is what's gonna happen. This is how I was talking to myself. I said, look at this, boy. This is what's gonna happen. You gonna sign up for school and you gonna go to school and finish your business administration. That's what you're gonna do. And that's what I did. And I started next month.
Man, I'm so proud of you. You know what the worst killer of dreams are?
Uh,
Doubt.
yeah, yeah,
Fear
yeah.
is the worst killer of dreams. Doubt and fear has killed more dreams than failure ever will.
Yeah, because you feel like you can't do it. You feel like, oh, it's too hard, or
You know what the biggest excuse is, especially as adult? It's just not the right time.
oh yeah, it's never the right time.
It never will be the right time.
Yeah,
That's like kids.
yeah.
Oh, I have to be I have to make I have to be making this certain amount of money and I gotta be at this. I don't care what you do in preparation for kids, you will never be ready for kids.
Nope. No, and you know what? And I told somebody that yesterday. It was one of my coworkers because she was talking about kids, and she was like, "Oh, I don't want kids. I don't know if I'll be ready for kids." And I told her, "You would never be ready for kids. It's just when you do have them, then you'll appreciate them once you have them."
Oh yeah.
Man,
Kids kids refine and they bring out the person you were meant to be. Because it's something about when you sit and look at your kids, it's a reflection of who you are. That's why a lot of times we have this, I call it a bad parenting set mindset, is we want to give our kids everything that we didn't have.
mm.
And that's like the worst thing that you could ever do.
Oh yeah,
Now, don't get me wrong, we do have a lot of exceptional kids. We do have those low maintenance kids that they don't need to be motivated. They're motivated, they're hard workers, they do everything that they're supposed to do. Yes, they should reap the rewards of that. Um, but to just outright feel like that I need to give my kid everything that I never had is such a road to disaster.
it's not. And the thing about it, for some of us, we're not giving our kids what we didn't have. They've already come into this world getting what we didn't have.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
they already started
The
off that way.
opportunities just alone is what we didn't have.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like, man. So yeah,
And through all of this, you have to understand, like, not one time did I mention anything about material possessions when I talked about success. Not one time did
it's not about that.
I mentioned that. And the reason why I didn't is that when you talk about mindsets, when you have a positive mindset, when your mindset is where it should be, you have a focused mindset. Success is not quantified by material possessions. Success is quantified by your mindset.
What do you think? What is your success? Because
Yeah.
everybody's success
What do
is
you
different.
think about yourself? Are you happy with yourself?
Because I mean, you can be like, okay, well, I can be successful if I continue to operate this business. That's a success.
Yeah. Success is simply this: I am able to maintain a roof over my head. I have my life, health, and strength. I'm able to navigate this world. God has given me a mindset to where I feel like I can accomplish anything. That is success. That is success. And we don't celebrate it enough. It's because we in the Western civilization, we think that success is quantified by money, cars, houses, and the abundance of it. The more of it we have, the more successful we think we are.
Oh, if I have a lot of money, then I got the power. I got the success, and I got the finer things. Uh,
And it's, I forgot who I had this conversation with, and it's been little tidbits here and there where people say, "Oh yeah, those people that say money can't make you happy, they must have never had it before." I've had money.
yeah.
The best times I've had in my life is when I was broke. The thing about not having money is it's a true test of your character, your ability to find enjoyment when there's really nothing available. Like I think about as a kid, when I was living in Peoria, Illinois, as a kid, we had access to go to the BMX racetrack. We went to this place called Landmark, played video games. We had all of this stuff. And then when my dad got laid off from Caterpillar Tractor Company, and I'm so proud of him even to this day, to where he was in his mid to late 30s, and when he got laid off, instead of him just going around town trying to find menial jobs here and there, and trying to hold on to the dream of getting back to track to Caterpillar, he took it upon himself and said, "I'm going in the military." At 30 something years old, bro, that's old to be going in the military. And what that did is that took us from Peoria, Illinois to Louisiana. We used to go to Louisiana all the time to visit. That's where all of his family is from. We go there every Christmas, mainly Christmas. Um, and so moving there as a kid, I think at the time the city was only like 8 to 10,000 people. So as a kid, you didn't have access to all the fun amenity things, the go-karts and the BMX racetrack and going to play video games. So we created our own fun. We would jump fences. We would knock signs over, knock tip mailboxes over, and jump the fence at the pool and go swimming and do things like that. Like those are the things that I remember and I cherish, because those were the natural things that we did that didn't have money tied to it. Those are the moments that I remember most. And that's why I say, like, for me, having the ability to be, I tell people all the time, I'm the Midwest Southern boy. That's why it doesn't take a lot for me to be happy. Like, people will look at me and say, "Hey, you're always dressed nice and this and that." I can't tell you the last time I ever paid for anything full price, bro. Honestly,
Yeah.
10%, 20% ain't a sale to me. I remember when I went to Lululemon, I didn't know Lululemon carried men's stuff. And I went there and I saw that Lululemon carried men's stuff, and I liked the way I loved the stuff they had. But when I looked at their price tag, I'm like, I'm not paying $125 for a pair of sweats. I'm sorry. I'm not about to pay $60, $80 for a t-shirt. So my goal was to create a relationship with Lululemon, and it was twofold, because I was really trying to break into the motivational speaking. I had already done a few motivational speaking engagements at the time, and so I just have that personality where people gravitate to me, and I love that about myself. I love the energy and the vibe that I give off to people. Um, and it was just a natural attraction with the people that worked at Lululemon. And then when I told them what I do and told them about the brand, they were very receptive to it. Like, let's figure out how we can tie that into what Lululemon is doing. And so I was able to take Lululemon on as a brand partner. They created this outline for me, and it was a partnership. And it took some financial backing to do it, but it was bro. Basically, they were giving me 60% off bulk items, but I would have to spend like a nice little grip of money. But throw out a number. I would have to pay $10,000 to get $60,000 in Lululemon. And for somebody that has like 10,000 to spare, you mean to tell me I could pay 10,000 and you gonna give me 60,000 in Lululemon gear? So I literally can turn around and sell half of it and triple my money just off selling half of it.
Right.
And I wasn't really ready at that time with the brand to kind of dive into that aspect of it, but they let me do some speaking engagement for their upper management and their employees, and I did a couple of them, and we created a nice partnership with them. And then with me being having a boot camp business and training and all of that stuff, I told them, I said, I want to be an ambassador. And that part of it was me trying to get that discount. And so they said it's tough to be an ambassador. And once again, you tell me I can't do something. That's now my goal. I'm going to
Right.
do it.
Right.
And so I said, look, give me the names of everybody that I need to talk to, whoever I need to shoot emails to and communicate with. Bro, when I tell you it was like a year and a half of me going back and forth with Lululemon. And then one day, like, I had a bunch of the managers around here saying, all right, Tim, we're lobbying for you to become an ambassador. And I was like, man, let's, because ambassadors for Lululemon don't really go anywhere. They almost renew year after year because you have local ambassadors, then you have global ambassadors for them, and those are like your professional athletes. Those are the global ambassadors. Um, and so when I had been going back and forth with them, and then one day, bro, I kid you not, I go into Lululemon, and I was purchasing something small, and it was a girl that I think she was new. And so when I gave my number and my email address, to pull, because at the time I was still getting my military discount, and the military discount was nice. It was like 25%. Um, and when she rung me up after I gave her my information, she said, "Congratulations," and I was like, "What?" She was like, "On being an ambassador." I was like, "Oh, thank you, thank you." And I'm like, I get my bro, when she told me the price and I got my receipt and saw on that receipt and it said ambassador and 60% off, man, I went crazy. And I did not know that they had a Lululemon outlet on the west side.
Oh wow. Okay.
So at the time they don't do it anymore, but at the time you used to be able to you used to be able to use your discount on discounted stuff. And so the Lululemon outlet would have those same $60, $80 shirts, and they'd be like $25, $29.
Yeah.
And they let me put my 60% on top of the $30. So that's $18 off of $30. So I'm getting $12 Lululemon shirts. Bro. People wonder why and how I have a custom closet and it's all Lululemon. Like dress pants, joggers, t-shirts, tank tops, jackets, coats, shoes, underwear.
It's Lululemoned out.
Shoot. I'm a figure that thing out. And it was a mindset for me. It was a mindset to where there was something I wanted to achieve. There was a goal I had in my mind, and I was not going to be deterred. And I had a year and a half full of failures. I had 6 months even before I started, people telling me there's no way possible that you can do it. And I ended up being an ambassador for Lululemon for a year. And it was amazing because it allowed me to cultivate that relationship too, from the motivational speaking aspect of it. And now I still have those relationships. The people still stop me and say, "Hey, man, that motivational speaking engagement that you did, man, it changed my life." And those are the things that I'm proud of. And those are the things I talk about when you talk about leaving a legacy. Leaving a legacy is really the amount of people that you impact with the time that you've been given. And I've been blessed through my motivational speaking, man, because I was called to do one at Chaparral, and they videoed it. And the next thing I know, man, I'm getting an email from them saying, "Congratulations, your story is now housed at the Library of Congress in D.C." So the speaking engagements was talking about failure and how it pertained to my life, both from a military aspect and then just from my regular life. And so now we talk about legacies. I've created that. So you could put my name in the archives in the Library of Congress, and it will bring up that video where it talks about my failures and my career and how it all ties in. And so that's the thing that you want. That's the goal, is that what do people say about you long after you've gone? How have you impacted people to where you caused this great positive effect on people? And that's it for me. I told somebody the other day, if God took me right now, I'm good. Like, I'm good. If I left this world right now, I'm good. God has blessed me tremendously, and it's nothing I could show you in my bank account. It's nothing that I could show you by the house that I live in or the car that I drive. But when you talk about people's lives that I've touched and I've impacted, and the footprints in the sand that I've left for other people to follow in, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. And so that's what we talk about, having a positive mindset, man. It is whatever you think about it, do it, but also have the work ethic to match it.
Yeah.
Like you said, you can't just sit on the couch and talk about what you want to do and expect. It's like ET said, you cannot be upset about where you go knowing you haven't put the work in to get to where you want to be.
Yeah, that's true.
So let's put in the work, man. We got a lot of resources out here, man. People that's willing to pour into you with anything that you want to do. Get off of that couch, get out of that chair. Stop punching that 9 to 5 and thinking that's the road to success, the road to where you want to be. It's not. We weren't meant to work a 9 to 5 all our life. There's too many opportunities out here for us to create something. Too many opportunities. And we think that when we get that paycheck, whether it's a good paycheck or what, we think that, oh, I'm good. I make $100,000 a year. I did that in the mortgage industry for a large portion of my career. Can't tell you where it went. But I could tell you when I didn't have it is when I had the least amount of stress. And I'm not trying to devalue the dollar at all. I'm not. What I'm telling you, it's more to life than just money. And when I travel outside of the country, I understand that even more. Because when you go to a place like Thailand, where these people have an infrastructure where they don't have the things that we have available to us, but they've done so much more than we have ever done with the resources that we have. So that lets you know what's possible with limited resources. So, man, look, wherever you want to be in life, change your mindset and you'll get there. We appreciate everybody tuning in today, man, and we appreciate all the feedback. It's all love to everybody that tunes in. If you're interested in starting your own podcast, I say this all the time because it seems like every other day I'm being approached by somebody that's talking about doing a podcast. Hit me up, hit Floyd up. We'll get you in the studio. We can do dry runs. We can let you record it and get it going. But like we just said, nothing's going to get done sitting in the comfy confines of whatever it is. You have to be willing to be uncomfortable to be successful. And success is not quantified by material possessions. Success is quantified by a mindset. So if you have a positive mindset, you are successful. We love you. And how we end all shows, love, peace, and soul.